Our parents don't talk about it. Their parents before them don't talk about it, right? So you imagine your life as you're checking boxes. I'm waiting. I've delayed having kids. I found the love of my life, and now I'm going to get pregnant. And no one tells you that there is really a biological clock. Like, that's not false. We have partner in podcasts, Dr. Sharon Malone, who wrote a book, Grown Woman Talk, where she's sort of ripping the curtain off of women's health questions. And in a conversation with her, she reminded us that women, we are born with a finite set of eggs, and we don't get any more. And every month we're losing them. And so there is a period of time, usually, and it's different for everyone, usually in your 30s, where you go from fertile to not. And it's like falling off of a cliff. And I'm like, why didn't anybody tell me this?
I know. It's crazy.
Why weren't people talking about this? So by the time we started really trying, which worked perfectly for our careers and maturing and having everything set, right? Because that's what we're trying to get everything set. Unlike our parents who, had us, we lived in a little bitty apartment, one income. Our generation, we're worrying about, I want everything set. I guarantee you have things way more set than any of our parents had before they started having kids. But we're waiting for everything to be perfect, no friction. We don't want any friction, right? And while we're waiting for our lives to be perfect, that biological clock is ticking. So you start trying and it's not working. That's when you go to the doctor and they tell you, oh, you're running out of eggs. This is normal. I mean, you're going to have trouble getting pregnant. And so try a little bit, and then now it's time for IVF. If you can afford it, which it wasn't covered by insurance at the time. So, it's just a shock to the system. And as people who like learning and like knowledge, you really sort of feel gypped.
Yeah.
That why is this such a secret? Which is why I talk about it openly, and I talk about miscarriages, because the other thing I learned is, like, most pregnancies, a good percentage of them end in miscarriage. That people have been having miscarriages for years, but not talking about it. So when it happens to you, a box checker, somebody that thought life was going to be so, and you did all the right things, to have things not work out and to know that it was going to be that way and nobody told you so that you could be prepared for it, it was a blow. And then as a woman, you're walking around owning the blow as if it's your fault, and so you're carrying around that burden. And that can become the first pressure point in a marriage, because emotionally, you've got a woman that is carrying all of this, feeling like a failure, feeling not having anyone to talk about, having her hormones go up and down, literally, right? Probably dealing with depression and maybe some postpartum, still working, still slaying dragons, still on the path, but she's carrying it all on her own. And then if you do IVF, the bulk of the work, the shots, we are the petri dish in the IVF process. You show up, you come in a cup, and ooh, yay, good for you, right? And you're a little mad about that too, because women have to get shots every week.
Yeah.
And you have to go back and forth in between having your job, your high-powered job, and keeping it all together. You're at the doctor's office every month trying to count your eggs and hoping that you're producing eggs. And then you have to go through the procedure. And then you have to be pregnant for 9 months as your partner is going to the gym and keeping his figure and, all of that, So it's a long way of saying there are just many natural reasons why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like I try to tell couples, of course it's hard. Just listen to what I said, right? Like, it's probably, if you're having some issues in your marriage, it's not you, it's the process of marriage. It's just all hard, because guess what happens when it all works out right? You know what you end up with? Babies. Little people with their own sense of everything. They mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle. And they're demanding, and they have their own whims, and now they're in your world, in your partnership. They are they are factored into everything. So even when everything works out and you have the 3.2 kids and you got everything right, it's still going to be hard because now you're developing a life, right? So I talk about these things because I think that people give up too quickly on marriage, right? Because there is so much friction built into the equation. And if you're not getting help, talking about it, going to therapy, just understanding how things are changing and how do you continuously renegotiate your relationship with your partner, I just see people quitting because they look at me and Barack and go, hashtag couple goals, and I'm like, it's hard. It's hard for us too. But I wouldn't trade it. He is, as the young people say, he is my person.
Was there ever a moment where you thought,
There are the moments where I'm like, right? But was it real? No. There was never really a full moment. There were moments when I was resentful. There were moments when I was mad. There were moments when I didn't feel like I got enough attention.